You won't feel as safe in any major capital in Europe as in.
That's one of the challenging parts of Europe because it's full of tiny countries compared to Latin America or Asia. The size of Brazil or China, it's a full continent actually. You drive 2 or 3 hours by car and you have to switch to another language.
When they launched in 2012 the Golden Visa program, it became probably the most successful one. So in my view, the real deal is if you can do your business outside Europe and you can relocate and be in Europe, in my view, this is the right combination because you can get the best of the two different worlds. There is one of the most misunderstood topics. Long story short, you can pay, if you qualify, 20% fixed rate on local income, but most importantly, you can have a tax exemption method that brings to zero foreign income. I'm confident Portugal will be probably one of the best options out there.
Mr. Ale is from Italy. I'm from Catalonia, and today we are in Cascais, all in Europe, and we are discussing today what's the quality of life in this part of the world. He's been to Asia, been to Latin America for many years, but we're still choosing to be here. End of October, beginning of November. Why are we here? Why are we enjoying Cascais when we could be anywhere in the world?
This is a great question. We just had an incredible lunch. If you travel around the world, you maybe live also in emerging countries, you enjoy different speed and of the markets also and opportunities. But in the end, the peacefulness of Europe and especially Portugal, I think you can really experience and feel it, especially during the weekends, like even chilled weekends like these, where you don't do anything so special, but you enjoy also a drive outside the city. There is an amazing ocean here, pleasing our sight, and we had an amazing, grilled fish, and simply you're happy with a conversation with friends. And there are not so many places in the world where you can enjoy this simple and natural, I think, thing. And peacefulness, safety. I think safety is a key point of value for Portugal. It's one of the safest places in general, including the capital Lisbon. If you compare Lisbon to any other capital in Europe, you won't feel as safe in any major capital in Europe as in Lisbon. So I think peacefulness, safety, and a very international community, and it's, in broadly speaking, welcoming culture, even compared to Spain or Italy. So if you go to Rome or to Barcelona, how many people would answer it to you in good English in Barcelona?
So it's not the best. And then we're gonna show the signs how to speak with your hands. But yeah, that's the later part of this episode. But I would say not many. Actually, the level in the public schools of English in Catalonia or in Spain is not that good. I don't know. What about in Italy?
If you do the classic gymnasium or the Liceo Classico, you learn probably better, ancient Latin and Attic Greece than English, and then you enter the market for the labor market, where you need to, in general, feel a bit of the gap you have, and so we can translate from Latin, but we don't speak a perfect English. And if you go in Rome, there are people who spend there 6 months, like with the maybe cultural exchange or other dynamics, and if they are, for example, Americans or Asians and they don't speak Italian, it's more difficult in general to create your connections in for example in Italy, but it's the same in Spain or in France, because there is in general, you need to learn Italian, you need to learn German, you need to learn French. Here, that's Portuguese true. Is an amazing language, I'm learning it, but you can speak English and everybody will understand you.
Yeah, because that's one of the challenging parts of Europe, because it's full of tiny countries compared to Latin America or Asia. Huge countries. Look at China, look at Brazil. Here, the size of Brazil or China, it's a full continent actually. You drive 2 or 3 hours by car and you have to switch to another language, because you literally are departing from, let's say, from Figueras, the northern part of Catalonia, of Spain. You speak Spanish, then you cross to France, let's say Côte d'Azur, French, and then you drive a bit more Italian, and then you go to Croatia and you're speaking another language, right? So, and everything on a little tour by car. So yeah, we were discussing that here in Portugal, you need to learn Portuguese if you want to really connect with the culture. But English, we are agreeing that it's one of the highest levels probably in this region, the western side of Europe.
100%. I don't think you can find any other place where by default they speak English in this amazing way, and this is unique. I mean, you can find it almost nowhere. Maybe in the Netherlands. In the Netherlands, they know, in general, English is very often spoken, and even in terms of, this seems maybe something minor, but it's not something small, because if you plan to relocate in France and you don't plan to learn French, your life is not going to be so enjoyable, right? So here instead, even and by the way, maybe there is, who knows which is the cause or the effect, but even the expat community here is very, well, it's big and very tight actually. So you will find so many other people having done, maybe similar choices of yours?
For example, places like Club 7, there in Lisbon, it's a fantastic place of international people. You see people from everywhere. I would say it's a top class club compared to other gyms, etc. There's the tennis club, so everything revolving tennis and paddle. Usually it's like the elite of the city. It's very similar in Marbella. There's a Marbella Real Paddle Club. It's the same thing. It's the top gym in Marbella. All the wealthier people go there, or influencers, celebrities like to go there, right? It's a bit similar thing here in Club 7 in Lisbon. And we also see a lot of old money here with the classic cars, the Porsches, the Bentleys, the Aston Martins, right? When we are in this area of Cascais, attracts all money. And also something that we are not talking a lot about in YouTube, but the health component of living in Portugal, right? You have things like, we didn't ask for it. The first thing they bring to us in this place that, by the way, Italian, Villa Italia, right? It's these almonds. Almonds with this look like fennel or some like, digestive, rosemary. Looks like some spices, right here. These cashews and then the tea. It's pretty easy to have a healthy lifestyle here. We ate fish, like grilled fish, lemon shot, sparkling water. Like, it's pretty simple to have a healthy diet.
Definitely. I mean, if you still want to drink 2 bottles of wine and 4 Negroni, you can. But in general, it's not so easy to have like the 5,000 calories, single plate, because you don't find, well, there is also Starbucks, but you don't find the 1,000 calories smoothie, behind the corner, unexpectedly at least. To reconnect on the other point, in terms of sport, and if you, literally, we are in November. If you want to have a biking session, or you absolutely, you can run here shirtless or not for 1 hour on Cascais, and you will enjoy it so much. But it's incredible because it's November. The weather is great. Probably one point to share. I always say that, but the weather in Lisbon and on the coast specifically is very similar to Californian one, which means it's always a mitigated weather, so it's never too cold, never too warm, and that's unique because if you go to, if we take Rome or Madrid as an example, in August you are not going to enjoy to be in the middle of the city on the asphalt. You're not going to enjoy your time in August in Rome or Madrid. Here in August there is going to be wind and fresh weather, and that's why Portugal, by the way, even when they launched in 2012 the Golden Visa program, it became probably the most successful one at that time, also for retirement persons, because retiring here was great. The only thing that maybe, but I don't know what's your point of view, is, as you were mentioning, in general, Europe and places like these, there is so-called old money, right? So in my view, the real deal is, if you can do your business, if you can have your business in the States, in Asia, or in general, outside Europe, and you can relocate and be in Europe, in my view, this is the right combination, because you can get the best of the 2 different worlds, and you can avoid the current frictions, at least for doing business in Europe, because that's also another key point.
If this was Miami, Ale, maybe you agree with me that this would be full of only fun girls here, like taking pictures and all of that, like Miami, it's full of this new money vibe, because this has the same type of sidewalks that you can find in California, or you can find in Miami, or these places. However, you just see here like more retirees and older people, or younger people but more conservative, more like old money or traditional real estate businesses and things like that. But you don't see, still at this point, I don't think Cascais is full of this influencer vibe and shows, and we have a challenge. If we do 10 pull-up bars and you beat me on these, you get $100. You don't get this kind of vibe here in Cascais.
That's correct. There is the opposite of the influencer life, because we were in the restaurant. I think the restaurant, we were like with this microphone, having some conversations and shooting, and there was nobody else, and probably it was the first table doing this there. So I think this can be a big plus, to be fair, because I think we need to give a deep overview. This kind of tranquility and peacefulness has a lot of pros. At the same time, if you want a high energy, high rhythm place, probably this is not for you, because in this place, if you manage by yourself to have your own inner motivation, and maybe you do in your team, there are people from, it's a remote first maybe company, you can, in my view, get the best out of this opportunity, and at the same time you can also bring a lot of value in this specific country. But at the same time, if you are into in your phase of life for being high performant, etc. You know,
Dubai,
maybe
go
there
to
are better
Singapore or-
Singapore, Dubai. There could be different exactly places that even by
Miami,
via
yeah.
Miami
United
osmosis.
States is still. United States. We were discussing this the other day. That it's pioneering. It's like up there for business, business, business. Every time I go there, I get the energy, the rush. But the thing here in Europe, you drive 30 minutes and you change the. You can feel the difference. Tell me, Ale, what's for you the difference between Cascais and Lisbon? Because it's still Portugal, but it's 30-minute drive. But you feel a different energy. What's for you the difference?
This is a very interesting topic. So I was chatting, by the way, the last few days with my actually Portuguese teacher, and I was asking her, okay, but what about Cascais in the past? Has always been the recognized as the posh maybe area nearby Lisbon, and apparently the answer was yes. So Cascais has always been somehow the place, even a few decades ago, where 30 years ago was the place for summer vacations, especially for maybe the upper class of the Portuguese upper class. This is at least what I learned.
Yep.
For sure, right now, you may have heard of Cascais in many conversations for, maybe founders after the exit, or maybe families in their 50s or maybe in their 40s where they relocate here. It's a lovely place. You are close by to the capital, but at the same time, it feels to be on the beach with a weather which never becomes too hot. So objectively, it has the pros of both being in the center and still within, I guess, more or less 40 minutes from the airport. So the scheme can be, I land with the airport, Uber, in 40 minutes I'm home. I'm outside the city, so outside the traffic, outside the noise. The nature is incredible. So I think, and you have a very peaceful life, I would say. And there are amazing international schools, amazing also sports centers. So if you are a family with your kids in between 5 and 15 years old, essentially you get the best of the best. Plus the time zone. The time zone is incredibly convenient, especially if you want to work with the East Coast of the United States of America, and of course if you want to work with the UK or Europe. But even with Miami, I think it's +5 in terms of hours, so you can still work with the East Coast successfully, and the flight to Miami is about 8 hours.
I always do it like this with my Apple Watch. It says -4 hours because maybe
Oh.
we changed the. Recently we changed
Absolutely. Right now it's 4 hours.
Yeah, exactly. They changed the time zone.
Yeah.
But yeah, 4 hours. Look how convenient it is. And then you want to work with Dubai as well. We can put it here. What time is it in Dubai? It's so convenient with the Apple Watch. +4 hours. Dubai right now. So you are right in the middle. Same time zone as the UK. Just 1 hour difference with pretty much all Europe.
To give maybe an overview, which is because Cascais in particular, again, it is this place which is, I invite you, if it happens to be in Lisbon, to maybe even via Uber visit Sintra, Cascais, this area.
Easy.
In my view, is one of the more beautiful, along with Estoril as well. And personally, I really like Oeiras as well. But the point that I wanted to mention is, in my view, when we talk of Portugal, at least in 2024, we must also mention the fact that the so-called, the special tax incentive regime is going to come back. So
I'm gonna stop here a pause, which is Ale is making a guide about the NHR 2.0 that is gonna be released with updated information vetted by a professional tax law firm. So you're gonna have access to that because you're watching this episode until this point down below. But it's not the only gift, it's not the only surprise we have for this episode. So after the second part, I'm gonna give you another one, but you're gonna find one link right now.
Thanks, Mikel.
Yeah.
Because this is I don't do consultancy, but nonetheless, I had multiple friends or acquaintances asking me about this NHR, and there is one of the most misunderstood topics regards the Portuguese special tax regime. So I asked 3 firms, actually. There are 2 law firms and 1 tax advisory firm to review with me all the key points of the so-called NHR 2.0. And you can find this guide. I guess whenever you will click there will be a sort of updated version of it. Yep. So right now it's not yet operative. We are in
By
November.
the time it's released, you're gonna have to release it for sure.
Oh, for sure. No.
Yeah.
The guide for sure, but the NHR 2.0 misses one specific ministerial decree. So the long story short is that, let's see, but in Q1 it should become operative. So if you are considering to relocate over to here in 2025, realistically this regime should be available. Long story short, you could pay, if you qualify, of course, upon conditions, 20% fixed rate on local income. but most importantly, you can have a tax exemption method that brings to zero foreign income.
It's usually the 90% of the income of many people that come here. They have real estate abroad, that's foreign income, it's not local. They have a US LLC, that's foreign income. They have a business in whatever, UK, Amazon, FBA of foreign income. So that's really advantageous.
Absolutely. To be, as always, everyone has to, consult his own advisory and make his own considerations. But in general, if you are one of the people, including us, we are not spending here 100% of the time, and we have interest physically also in different countries. In my view, the Portuguese scheme, which is built for attracting talents in Portugal, is very smart, because the only condition is that you need to have a local employment, even with an EOR, so employment of record, or a local company you can set up, which falls under an eligible category. So you need to be possessing and practicing a work which is essentially bringing value to the country. So for example, software engineering, research, you could be a worker in a startup, but also company director. So you can potentially one of the systems to be confirmed upon final approval of the scheme called IFICI, which means the new NHR is the acronym. Upon confirm, essentially, there are various ways of setting up it successfully, and it lasts 10 years. So in my view, the interesting part is that there are incredibly convenient, I would say, jurisdictions in the world: Dubai, Singapore. I often write about them on my Expat. This is a unique opportunity because it's in the heart of Europe, with a completely different also cost of life, an amazing culture, amazing also quality, safety and quality of life. And for 10 years there is this objectively attractive, potential attractive scheme, and we will know more and finally in Q1, but it's pre-approved. So I'm quite confident if this comes into place as it is, I'm confident Portugal will be probably one of the best options out there.
And after it finishes in 10 years, you can go to Spain. There's the Beckham law, which gives you 6 years of 24% flat rate on income made in Spain, but 0% tax rates for capital gains and dividends generated outside of Spain. So pretty similar to what Ale was mentioning. And actually, Portugal and Spain, if you are in the southern part of Portugal, then you drive a little bit, you are in Sevilla, you are in Marbella, you are even very close to Gibraltar, which is a UK territory, with great banking, by the way, and also favorable conditions there for taxes. So you can just drive around, have a home in each side of the country. By the way, you have ways to finance homes here at 70% by the bank, 30% down payment. We have contacts that can do it for non-residents, and they can give you very attractive rates. We're talking about 2.5, 3%. So really interesting, because eventually if the inflation is 4 or 5% and you can get the money, loan the money, borrow the money at a lower rate than inflation, you're basically making free money. So you're buying a beautiful property here in Cascais. You have this traditional architecture, European. Now that I'm talking about European, we are saying Cascais, 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 but since we have the sunset here and we're wrapping up this video, I think that we need to teach people, in case they want to at least, drive to Italy, Alessandro. They want to drive there, visit a bit Italy. What are the signs, what are the gestures that they need to learn when they go to Italy to express different points?
Clearly, if you are asking a question,
Italian
we don't realize when we do it. So, but apparently all my non-Italian friends, they point me out and point all the Italians out when we inquire someone. So if it's a question, and typically is this movement. So I like, how did you find my number, or something. That is essentially, this is the way for inquiring. Yeah. But then if you want to make a statement, and like we want to express how solid and based is your statement, exactly, you do this. So you fix these three, and this is probably where like we want to make a point and making, and then there are many variations of anyone. Like if you want to express like you're uninterested in something, there is, especially in Rome or central Italy, there is this kind of scratching literally your chin, which could mean I don't care what you are saying, or I don't care of this thing, essentially, literally. But this is not, don't do it, okay? This is going to be not well perceived. It's not elegant. It's
also don't do do that much. This one.
Oh yeah,
What does this mean?
This one is like, you know, cut it short, which by the way I think it's
By the way?
international. Like cut it. Like
Yeah.
this is not really good.
Then as well,
this is of
pretty
course, like,
international. Like, let's go.
let's go.
Yeah.
And then there are many others also, including the non-elegant ones, especially coming from Italy. So if you want to express like you are feeling something, for sure there is this way of saying it, which
And
emulates the.
Imagine why this one means fear. What does this represent?
We will
leave
leave
to your
it
imagination.
to your
To your
imagination. Yeah.
imagination.
Don't.
If you are Italian, maybe you want to clarify in the comments for
Don't-
the rest of the world.
Yeah, you can also
You can comment it.
feel free to also not comment it. Let's keep it as a secret, okay? This is
Keep
going
it
to be
elegant.
un segreto italiano, an Italian secret. Okay.
segreto italiano.
Why this is the.
Yeah.
And then yeah, there are many. If you want to say like someone is smart, you can do like
Okay.
this,
Or
or
you can
there is
do-
the more I think more neighborhood version, which is more like this like street smart.
Street smart.
But then it depends, and honestly, if you're outside of Italy, you I mean you don't use these signs. I mean, so maybe we should travel together in Italy, use them, you
And
know.
see, test it in different regions.
Exactly, and then we approve them. Otherwise,
Yeah.
now it's I could be a bit rusty. Also, it's a few
Yeah.
years in there. But
Yeah. And Italian people that are watching this, please tell us if this is correct or it's old-fashioned and it's not used anymore. Because, for example, you said that kids, if they find something good, like, oh, I'm trying yours, oh, it's really good. And you go like this. So that's a funny one.
we have pretty much one for almost anything. But it's I mean, yeah, there are a few jokes. I mean, about it. I know that because for us, it's like I mean, when you keep living in Italy, you give this for granted. But then you realize that when you go abroad, that not everyone in the world uses his own ends in such an expressive way. Yeah, but here, I mean, in Portugal, you don't need to do it. It's
Same. Just if you decide to go to Italy from here, you decide to drive because of the beauty of living in Europe, that you can drive pretty much anywhere, or you can take a short plane, like 3 hours, something like that. You're gonna be in Italy from Lisbon, and then yeah, you can start practicing these ones all around.
I heard of people, buying the tickets from Italy, and they start in the mirror, or starting practicing like, can I have a coffee, or like, this spaghetti very good, or And when you are to the frontier, if you don't do this properly, they don't let you come in Italy.
Exactly. Important in customs.
Yeah.
In customs, Ale heard terrible stories of people ending up in jail because of in customs not making the right hand movement, because the officer in customs was like, okay, where are you coming from? True story. Ale saw it, like she was explaining. Ended up in jail because the man was like, oh yeah, I'm coming from this, and then the officer didn't like the angle and the way, like the emphasis of the hand, and said, to the fucking jail, get out of here. With this said,
There's that still someone is in jail, and maybe they're watching it from the jail because they made it wrong. Right?
then they're in jail being like, cazzo, like fuck. All right, so with this, subscribe to the channel. We are having so much fun doing these episodes. Subscribe because more of this is coming. In the next video, by the way, how you can pay 0% taxes or close to 0% taxes living in Portugal. And also, very interesting, how a fund that gives you exposure in Bitcoin that Ale is working on can get you Portuguese citizenship in only 5 years. You can check it out right here.